Rocky. So this is actually the first time Emma has had comedy here at BellaVino. She may or may not regret it. We're not sure. But Emma, thanks for having us. Mike, thanks for having us. So I've seen a lot of you in here for the theme nights, right? How many of you show up for the theme nights? And all along here, right? This lady, Donna, you remember the show Cheers? The guy Norm? When she walks in, everybody goes, Donna! So, you know, huh? A little louder? Oh my God. Okay. How's that? Better? Now the people up in the front, their ears are bleeding. So what is your favorite theme night here at BellaVino? Mine is always music bingo. Not only do I get to play, but I get to keep track of all the songs. So when it's going slow, it's always my fault. But I was thinking of some other theme nights here at BellaVino. Now I know Emma has a friend who has a spa. So I'm thinking the friend who owns the spa could show up here and we could do white wine and waxing. We could do Merlot and manicures. And we could do Pinot and pedicures. Huh, you guys in? Yes. All right, give me $10 now, I'll reserve your spot. So I've been married for 41 years to Pixie. Pixie, raise your hand. Poor woman, 41 years with me. The only reason why I do this is because it's the only place I can literally get 5 minutes of uninterrupted time where I can talk. So, you know, we're Italian. We talk with our hands a lot, always going a mile a minute. Pixie especially. Sometimes she looks like she's landing planes on an aircraft carrier, right? She broke her wrist last summer. She was in a sling, and she developed a speech impediment. She just stood there going, You know, when we got married, we did very, very traditional vows. Kids today, they write their own, and they're very special to them. But for us, we did the traditional vows. And am I glad I did? I really screwed her on that whole health and sickness thing. You know, guys, have you ever tried to win an argument with your spouse? That's adorable. You can't. You'll just run out of oxygen before you can even make a point. And at the end, of course, I always apologize. And I apologize because I like living indoors. You know, we talk about who's going to go first, and I know I'm going first. There's not a doubt in my mind. And we're talking about this with cousins. And I said, yeah, I'm definitely going first. My cousin, and she goes, yeah, that tracks. My cousin jumps in and says, but what if she went first? What would happen? He says, you'd probably be so depressed. I said, well, I would be depressed, but obviously I would be right behind her. She jumps in and says, depressed? He's so fat he can't get off his recliner to feed himself. That's why he'll die. You know, in the... I'm going to pay. You know, maturing in marriage is accepting the fact that your wife can't remember where she left her glasses, typically on top of her head. Oh, I see you got them on top of your head. But she can remember something I said 39 years ago on a Monday night at Beefsteak Charlie's. Just never forgets a thing. The 3 most frightening words in any marriage, I was thinking. We're living in New Jersey at the time, and I was thinking we would change the slider with a French door, right? Next thing I know, I got a contractor at the house, and I'm writing a check for 50 grand for an addition. Then I was thinking, well, let's go to Italy for 2 weeks, right? Nice trip, go to Italy for 2 weeks. We're now spending a month in Italy. So it just never goes my way. And speaking of Italy, of course, Pixie is shopping and shopping and shopping like a maniac. We get 15, 20 boxes a day from Amazon. Our delivery guy used to be built like Pee Wee Herman. Now he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger from carrying all the parcels to the door. And she returned so much of it, we've actually had to put an Amazon return center in our golf cart garage. So if you live near me in the Venetian, just drop your shit off and Amazon will come and pick it up. That Amazon guy. So I'm also taking some language lessons. for the trip to Italy. I mean, like I know the basics. I could order a beer. I could find a bathroom. But I wanted to learn a little bit more, right? So I'm taking lessons, and I downloaded this app called Duolingo. And I thought it would be fun. And the first couple of days, it was fun. And then suddenly, I had a second Italian woman just yelling at me every day. You know, I know at least one guy in here is going to get this, but how you know when you're Italian? You use the rubber band from the broccoli rob for your wallet. Right? You know who you are. Italians, we're like really big on food, right? It's just a major part of the culture. And I learned to cook sitting at the knee of my grandmother and my mother. And, we would make all the traditional holiday stuff, gigantic Italian meals. So food is tantamount in the Italian culture. So we moved to Cincinnati. From New York, we moved to Cincinnati. And the neighbors come over, introduce themselves, and they said, we'd like to take you out for a nice dinner. There's a nice new Italian place that opened up. I said, here in Cincinnati, there's a nice new Italian place? I was dubious. So they said, yeah, the Olive Garden. I thought about it, and I said to them, look, to me, the Olive Garden is a culinary hate crime. I'll cook. And so I did. Pixie always accuses me of forgetting things. And, I have to admit, I do have selective memory, right? Things that are important for her to tell me are not always important in the grand scheme of things for me. I like to call it Italian Alzheimer's. That's where I forget everything except the grudges. I've been around Italian women for multiple generations. I can think back to like 5 generations of Italian women. And one thing that's common amongst all of them, they talk incessantly. They never stop. It's seemingly they can breathe through their ears. Now, if that is in fact the case, that blows out that whole excuse of, I'm not sucking that because I can't breathe. All right, sometimes it gets a little dirty. Just go with it. I remember all the Italian weddings, and they were always like really insane, like 300, 400, 500 people. The bridal party had 40 people in it, all first cousins of the bride and the groom, all of them named John and Maria. And we would go to the wedding, and you never show up to an Italian wedding with a gift. You bring cash. You put it in an envelope. Maybe you put a little sticky with your name on it so they know who to send the thank you card to. But you always bring cash. And the cash always goes to the grandmother, who's sitting there with a bag called la busta. So she's got one hand on the bag of cash, and the other hand is on her purse, which has her personalized 38 caliber weapon in it. When I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn, Homeland Security had a completely different face than it has now. It was just all the nonnas and all the boobies hanging out the window. And they would yell out, hey, you little son of a bitch, who are you? You don't belong in our neighborhood. Get out of here, you little bastard. And then, of course, the boobies, the Jewish grandmas, they were like, this little son of a bitch, he's in the neighborhood. You have to get him out. Call the cops. Get this little bastard out. All right, so we've got 4 comics tonight. I know, and I've done shows with all of them. I think you're going to have a good time. So our first comic is a good friend of mine. She actually got me started in comedy.